One of the first things you should do for every photo you intend to print, post online, or use for any other reason is adjust the levels. The levels represent the range of values. Values mean lights and darks that are present in a photo and can be easily adjusted to make dramatic improvements. Before I open a photo and show you how to adjust the levels, I want to talk to you about the Photoshop interface. So here on the left side of the screen is a toolbox, and if I click on an individual tool, you'll see that the options bar above the toolbox changes. So if I click on the next tool, you get a different set of options. Above that is a line of menus that are used for various reasons. And then over here on the right side are something called panels. The panels can be moved. You can just click on one of the tabs and move them to different places around this work area. You can also close them. Sometimes you accidentally close a panel and it can be a little bit disconcerting to figure out how to get it back. One way is to just go over here to the window menu and choose the panel that you want from the list and it will pop open. Another way is to go to Workspace and click Essentials, and that will put all of the basic panels back in their proper position over here on the right side of the screen. With that said, let's go ahead and open an image. So I'm going to go to File, and normally I would go to Open and navigate to where I have my particular image saved. But because I was just working with it, I'm going to go to Open Recent, and here it is, the second one down on the list. This is my Fairy Bells photo. At first glance, this photo looks pretty good, but it's always a good habit to check the levels anyway. So over here where the panels are, I'm going to go to the one that says Adjustments. Here on the top row, the second button over, is the Levels button. So I'll click that and I get this diagram. This is all of the lights, mediums, and darks in this photograph. You can see there's a black, gray, and white slider. Here on the black end, there's a flat line, which means that there are no true blacks in this photograph. So what I'm going to do is grab the black slider and drag it over to right where the information on this graph begins. And you can see that that has brought out the darks in the photograph and made them richer. You can see also on this end that there's no true whites represented in this photo. So I'm going to take this white slider and again just bring it over here to where the information first begins to appear on the graph. And you can see that that brought out the lights in the photo and made a pretty dramatic difference very easily. Now there are lots more nuances to the levels feature, and I'm going to show you one more. I'm going to open another image, one that I've used recently. So File, Open Recent, and I'm going to grab this one. This is a photo shoot that I did on my dining room table with light streaming in through a window, and you can see that it has a little bit of a blue color cast to it, and I'm going to fix that by adjusting the levels. So again, over here in the Adjustments panel, I'm going to go to the top row and click the second button over. We can see by this diagrams of the lights, mediums, and dark values in this photo that it looks pretty good. There's maybe a tiny bit of a gap here where the blacks should be. So I'm going to grab the black slider and move it over slightly. But the whites look very well represented and there's really nothing for me to do. But I want to draw your attention to these droppers here on the side. Again, we have a black dropper, a gray dropper, and a white dropper, similar to these sliders down here on the bottom. I'm going to click on the white eyedropper and look at my photo here and choose a spot where I think it should be white instead of the blue tint. And I'm going to go ahead and click right up here in this corner. And you can see that Photoshop was smart enough to remove that blue tint and really dramatically improve the whites in this photo just that quickly. Now that we have finished with this photo, let's talk about the layers panel. So I just double clicked on that, and you can see that here is the original background image, and above it is the adjustment layer of the levels. And at any time, if I want to go back and change what I just did, maybe I don't like it for some reason, or I want to try it again and get a different effect, I can take this and I can throw it in the trash down here. So I'm going to go ahead also and turn this visibility icon, the eyeball, on and off so that we can see the before and after. So here's before, kind of a blue tint to it, and then I'll turn that adjustment layer back on and it looks much better. Now what I'm going to do now is show you two different ways to save this. So I'm going to go to File, Save, and originally this was a JPEG, but because I now have the background layer and an adjustment layer, it has two layers, and JPEGs can't have any layers, so it's defaulting to a Photoshop document. So I could change the title of this. Let's see, I'm going to call it Materials, and go ahead and click Save and OK. So now if I ever need to go back and change this photograph, I'm going to have all of this information intact. But if I want to, for example, put this on the internet or put it into a PowerPoint presentation, I can't insert a Photoshop format into those two applications. They will only accept JPEGs and a couple of other file formats. So if I'm going to put this on the internet, I need to go to File, Save As, and change it from PSD to, here on the list, I'm going to go to JPEG. And I can say I spelled materials wrong, so let me try that again. There we go. And I'll click Save, and I get this JPEG options box. Because this is going for the on the internet, let's say, I don't want this to be a huge file. So I'm going to go ahead and set the quality to medium, around 6. And I might actually have to reduce the size of this further depending on where I want to place it, because it's not a good idea to put huge files on the internet. They take a lot of time to download, and also there's file size limitations. So you don't want to use a bunch of gigantic photos and take up all your space. So I'll go ahead and click OK. So now I have this file saved two different ways for whatever applications I might need to use them for. And that's it for now.